I hope everything's going well for you today.
All right, there you go. You're live.
Oh, hi guys. Didn't even realize we were on. How is everybody today? I hope you're doing well. My name is Di.
I'm Robin, and we are excited to be here with you today.
Right, today is Why Wednesday. And if you don't know what that means, is that everybody has a why. Everybody. We don't always know what it is, but some people like to dig real deep into that, because everyone says, well, my family is my why, or my dog is my why, all sorts of stuff they come up with as their why that they're going to work so hard. But if you don't have a really strong why, which is really your incentive, how far are you going to get? What makes you get up in the morning? What makes you do the things you do? What makes your decisions for you? Right? Because decisions, even though they take 1 second, they really, really do matter for your everyday thing. What do you think about that, Rob? Anything special you want to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think your why is really important, which is why we're doing this today because we had, honest to God, we took this course from Tony Robbins and Dean, and they'd say we were in marketing for a little bit before we took it, and everybody would always say, "Know your why. What's your why?" And so we were like, "Okay, well, we want financial freedom."
Car.
We wanted to get up to an alarm clock every day. I mean, that was kind of our surface level of how we did things, and you know, back then it was put up the vision board, and we did, and I believe in manifesting, so it was good, but we didn't really go deep with it, and then when we started taking the Tony Robbins course, we were like, they would teach you something and tell you a story. It was really good. If you ever get a chance to take one of their courses, it's really good. But so they would teach you a little bit, and then they would give you like this exercise. And so we were like, okay, let's do this exercise. We got this. And so you sat down, and it would give you this list of what's your why. And we were like, financial freedom. Life is good. We had the answer. And then it would say, but why?
Why do you want financial freedom? So then you think again, and it's like, well, I want financial freedom so that I can do whatever I want to. Well, why do you want to do that?
And so
it kept going and going and going.
It kept going. It was like 7 levels deep, I think is the name of the exercise.
And by the time you got to the bottom, you were crying about your childhood. It really, really made sense to do that, because when you dig deep down into yourself, you're really going to get to the nitty gritty of what makes you do what you do. So when we do this exercise now, it's like we know where it's going.
Yeah, we do. We know exactly what's happening, but most people don't. And it's like with anything in life. I think you get out of it what you put in it. We we had spent a lot of money on this course, and at the time we didn't have a whole lot of money to spend, so we were really investing in our intellectual capital at the time. So because we had spent so much money on it, we were going to get as much out of it as we could
possibly. Our money on this.
And again, I'm going to say, if you ever get the opportunity to take one of their courses, it is definitely well worth the money.
It definitely does. It definitely does reach down inside of you and pull who you are and what you want out of you. Because people actually, they don't realize it so much. I mean, you do, but you don't. But you need clarity in life. Like you really do need clarity. And when you sit there and you think about all the things that you think your why is, ask yourself over and over again, well, why? And when you get to the root of it, then you're going to find like your real purpose.
Yeah. Just a little disclaimer, we're not therapists or anything.
Oh, no.
But I can tell you it was very powerful for me. When I don't typically, share my life story, but it was powerful for me because I've always been one of these people. I've always been like 105 pounds my whole life, right? So until hitting
Whatever.
until hitting like 50, right? So
You still got a month.
I got a month. But anyhow, so I've always said, and I would say this to Di all the time, there's one thing I'm never going to go without, and that's food. I'm never going to go without food. Like I'm never going to uh not buy food, right? Because, you know, when you're in your 20s, listen, I'm going to say this. When you're in your 20s and you're out partying and you don't have enough money, because you spent all of it last night, the night before, or whatever, and so you're stuck at Taco Bell, at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's one thing. But
Or the chili hot dog from 7-Eleven.
well, I have just always been one of these people that I'm going to spend my money on food. Now, I can't cook, so I'm going to put that out there. I do not cook. I probably should, but I've worked in the hotel business my whole life, so I haven't really technically had to. But nevertheless, doing this exercise, I'm going to share this with you. Doing this exercise when we did it with Tony Robbins and them, I actually realized that the whole reason I am the way that I am about food and freedom and being able to have enough money to buy food is because when I was really little, um,
The whole thing just.
when I was really little, I lived with my mother and we traveled around a lot and I got really hungry from time to time and of course years of therapy have dealt with all that but it's the point. You have to really get hungry, and I think that just coincides with what we're trying to say today with the why, is that your why needs to be with such clarity that it's going to pull you out of whatever you're in. It's going to keep you from falling or backsliding or whatever, your purpose is in life. It's going to be that thing that keeps pushing you when nobody else can. And I think
That is what you need. When you wake up in the morning, everyone's like, look, there's so many people out there that just go to work every day and they do it just to pay the bills, but they're not happy. So if you're not happy in your job, keep your job, but always look for something else that's going to make you happy. And it gives you real reason to go forward. Like you can say, like, I'm doing this for my family. That's great. But think of when, like, it goes all the way back sometimes. Like Dean was saying, he went all the way back and he lived in like 20 homes by the time he was 19, because his parents got married a lot. And he realized that he wanted to do this because his children mean the world to him. And he never wanted his children to live like this. But he had to go back. Why?
Amen.
And it really became important to him to be able to just never want his kids to have to go through any kind of struggle like that. And I thought that was really interesting because you don't know what goes on in the lives of people. So once again, we all have whys, but it's got to be your own. It has to definitely be your own. Your why keeps you focused every day. When you get up out of bed, you are so focused on why you're doing what you're doing. And that helps you so much. It's easy to set goals, excuse me. It's easy to set goals when you know what your why is.
Well, yeah, and again, I really think it keeps you on track. It keeps you really focused on what you're trying to accomplish. Like for example, I mean, not that this isn't a me conversation all day today, but something that happened to me real recently, and for those of you who know me, know that I've smoked for years, and have really tried to quit over the years, and some time I have, like 2 years at a time or whatever the case may be. But this last time I was like, really preparing myself and I was psyching myself out and went and, probably bought like $400 worth of medication to, help me quit and all that I ended up not taking because it made me sick. But so the moral of the story here is that, if you 80% of everything that you do, every decision you make is psychological, right? You have to talk yourself into what it is you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And just not too long ago, I mean, because right now at this point, I really want to smoke. Um, but I really know what my why is and why I don't want to smoke.
Well, that's usually why you quit.
No, yeah, because there's a
so many
reason or
reasons.
something, but
There's so many, I understand it. I don't smoke, but I understand that, you have that need for something. And if you can just find something to fill that void when you want to smoke, just find something else to do, and they say it's easy, but not easy.
I
So,
think I've quit several times in my life, so I think it just depends upon where you are in your life at the time and really what your why is. I mean, that makes a big difference. I mean, like if I was to walk in and they'd say, "Oh, you've got COPD and you're gonna die in a couple of months," my why would probably be a little different than it is. You know what I'm saying?
wow.
I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I mean, in all seriousness, it's where you are in your life and what's happening, and that why is going to change periodically, I think.
I think to get off of that Debbie
Debbie
Downer
Downer.
thing, let's just talk about like you really deeply know your reason. We'll call it the why because that's what this is about. But if you know your reason every day, you're going to make the right decisions because we all go through life with those you have to make a decision one way or another. And like, I know myself, I'm always like, oh, I don't know this, I don't know, but really, if you're focused, if you are completely focused on what your why is for you, for your kids, where you're going to live, all of it, if you know exactly where you want to be, and your goals, like where you want them to, the end result to be, then you're going to make the right decisions just for that. There won't be no like wishy-washy kind of things because it makes you much more accountable to
Yeah, I
yourself.
was just fixing to say that. I think it holds you more accountable.
It holds you accountable for yourself, for your kids, for your pets, whatever you want to decide on.
Even for your why, maybe.
But accountability is great. You have to be accountable to your job, right? Because you have to get paid. But what if you really wanted to be accountable to yourself and your dreams and your why? You know, that makes all the difference in the world because so many people go through life working 40 years for someone else and they're accountable to that somebody else who's got a house on the beach or in the mountains or whatever else they want. And we have to be accountable to them. Why not change your whole why, change your goals, keep working while you're doing it, but decide where you want to be and why it's important to you to get to your goals. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Um, but I think it's really important. I'm just going to say this, being the psychology person that I am. I think it's really important to do the dive deep exercise,
I do.
to go the seven levels deep, because at the end of the day, right, you never see, and people are just so superficial a lot. They'll just say, "Oh, well, I just want financial freedom. I don't want to have to go to work."
But there's so
Well,
much to that.
but there's so much more to it, and I think you really need to focus on what that is, because like you never see an armored car in a funeral procession, right?
Because you can't take it with you.
Because you can't take it with you when you go. So we spend our whole lives, I think placing a dollar value on what we consider success, and I don't think that that's necessarily what defines you or what defines success. So maybe your why
Yeah,
is not so much a financial.
Yeah, your success doesn't have to be, oh, I got all the gazillion dollars that I need. Sometimes success just means that you're happy, you've got great health, your kids are good, everything's going along well. You have a roof over your head. It doesn't mean you have to have the most money in the world and hey, you win. That doesn't go like that. It's really hold on to what you love and make sure that everything in your life is great. I mean, you don't have to be OCD about it or anything. You just, yourself, your why, what's going to make your kids healthy and happy. And that's really what's, I think, that is very important. You look like you're disagreeing, and if you do,
I am not. I just think that if you are OCD, it's okay.
yeah, I know a lot of
We're-
it's okay.
It's okay.
Unless you're one of those that go back and forth to the car to see if you locked it 5 times.
Hey. Done that just because I have brain fog. It didn't have anything to do with it. Anyhow, I think knowing the true reason and really understanding the reason why you do what you do, or why you want what you want. I mean, I don't think any of us are designed to be here to be miserable. I just
No.
I think our attitude is, again, a large portion of what allows us to accomplish what we do. I mean, if, like we said yesterday, if you go around all day long, complaining about everything in your life, you're going to be miserable, right?
Well, even when we get people into, like they come and work with us for themselves, for their family, we always ask them like, what's their why? Because we want to know what, what they want from the business, not what can we get from you, like what are you going to put into this? Just like, what do you want to get out of it? Some people have kids that are going to college. Some people have no retirement at all. They don't have anything to rely on when they get older. So that's a good reason for, getting into something and knowing where you want to end up. Nobody wants to end up with just like a $700 social security check at the end of the month, because that's just not going to cut it. So
That's a whole nother.
but there's so many people out there who can't do anything because that's what happens, and I'm not talking political or anything, but it's just that's what happens. You work your whole life for somebody else, and then what do you have? A lot of jobs don't have the 401k anymore. That seems to has gone out the window for a lot. That happened to you.
Well, yeah, that did happen to me years ago. But it's kind of like this. Everybody thinks that like working for yourself is like, oh, it's wonderful, it's great, it's
You got to know where you want to go.
again, yeah, the importance is knowing the why, because it takes a lot
Mhm.
to it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of accountability to work for yourself. Um, you know, you are the person that makes all the decisions. I mean, it takes a lot to work for yourself. So it's more than just the financial gain, and understanding why you're trying to do what you're doing for financial freedom or for just freedom, period, is a good enough reason why to keep you driving. But it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is, which is why it's so important for you to dive those 7 levels deep, I think.
Yeah, and always make sure that you pick the right thing for you to do. If you don't love what you do, it becomes a job. So whatever you're doing, you should be passionate about it. I get all the people, there's so many people that get out of college and they end up working at McDonald's because there's nothing for them out there. Like everyone always strives for you got to grow up, you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that. But if that's not what you want to do and you're just doing it for other people, you're not passionate. You got to dig down deep in yourself too, as well, and say, what do I want out of this? I know people who went to law school and they finished law school, they started lawing. And then
Lying or lying?
working, and but realized they didn't like it, and so they decided to switch. And they said, I have other goals than this. I want to travel. I want to do what I want to do. I want to help people.
So I think your why changes as you grow and progress. I think
It does, but you always got to kind of keep a track on where your why is going and why you have a why. Because things happen in life, and yes, things are going to change, right? But like I said, when you're happy, everything seems to be going great, and that's because of the decisions you make. But stay focused on your why, because that makes all the difference in the world. I think that's my belief.
I think people overcomplicate being happy.
Well, not really. I mean, there's some people that poor souls. They're out there
I mean,
not
I
happy.
don't think it has to be as difficult as people make it.
No, but that depends a lot on your thinking.
Well,
Your
see,
mindset, that's a whole nother subject.
it is for tomorrow, Thankful Thursday.
Oh yeah, Thankful Thursday
So
is tomorrow.
I think a little bit of gratitude, your life
You
becomes
gotta
a
find
different
things to be
perspective.
thankful for, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. But in the meantime, check your why out and don't just say, oh, well, I do this for my kids. I do this because I want a car. I do this because. Really dig deep inside yourself. Figure out what is your real why
Yeah.
and what caused you to want these goals and really just dig deep inside yourself. It's like cleansing.
Yes, yeah. Tonight I'll put up a copy of that exercise so that you can really, you can really utilize it and go the different levels because I think it's important. It's a lot of fun, but again, like with anything, you get out of it what you put in it. So
So
might as well give it all.
we always like to do a fun fact at the end of our shows that people don't know. It's like useless knowledge. So here's the useless knowledge for today about the why, right? I have to look over here, so don't mind me not looking. But it says Homo sapiens emerged on the savannah plains some 200,000 years ago. Yet they had an instinct to fight furiously when they were threatened and a drive to trade information and share secrets. In today's terminology, their why was what they fought so hard for. So that is your useless knowledge for today. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. And
I think it was fun. I think it was fun to talk about why.
I think it was too. And I hope you got something out of it. And we love having you guys on. So for today, we're gonna say bye, but I don't want to leave without saying you can be anything in this life. The best thing to be is kind. Go out and be kind today.
Absolutely, and be back tomorrow for Thankful Thursday.
All right, we'll talk to you. Bye bye.